you for joining me today for Real Estate, Religion, and You. My name is Sylvia Black, licensed real estate broker with affordable homes and apartments right here in Buffalo, New York. You can visit my YouTube address at sblack3001@gmail.com for videos. You can also hit me up on Facebook, Dr. Sylvia Black. We have a real estate club that you can join. We sell... we're your full-service licensed real estate brokerage firm, and you can email me at sblack3001@gmail.com. And I want to thank you for joining me today for Real Estate, Religion, and You, which is every Wednesday right here on Time Warner Public Access TV Channel 20, Wednesdays 6:30 to 7 p.m. in the evening, and also Saturdays from 12:30 to 1 in the afternoon. And I'd like to thank you for joining me today. And my name is Sylvia Black, licensed real estate broker with affordable homes. Today I'd like to talk to you about a book that I have written entitled Free Money for Home Buyers. Free Money for Home Buyers. And today we are going to talk about the buying process. Okay, what does it actually involve when you actually decide, you say in your mind and you say, hey, listen, I want to buy a house. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the things as much as we can cover it in 29 minutes today. Now, the buying process. Now, what are the steps that are actually involved in the buying process? What are things that you need to know when you get started? You say, hey, I'd like to own a home of my own. You know, as I talked to you about last week, you know, you have your Section 8 voucher, you have credit history, both of you working, you have been on your job for a while, and you feel that you're ready to buy a home. At least you'd like to look into it. Well, let me just give you some educational tips in terms of exactly what you'll be looking for. You'll be looking forward to doing. Okay, first and foremost, most people need to obtain a mortgage when purchasing a home. And we're talking about my book, Free Money for Home Buyers, and this is available on lulu.com. All you have to do is go to the website, www.lulu.com, and just type my name, Sylvia Black, or Free Money for Home Buyers, and make sure you look for this specific, because this is what it's going to look like. And it's available immediately, so you can actually obtain a copy. And this has names, phone numbers, details, addresses, websites where you can actually go to. You go right to the source. I tell you exactly where to go and how to get. And if you don't know how to do that, you can always contact Affordable Homes and Apartments at 716-602-7213. Email us, hit me up on Facebook. My website is under construction. Visit my YouTube address at sblack3001 for free videos, and you can watch this video on YouTube also, and that address is sblack3001. When you get to my page, just subscribe, and every time you log on to YouTube, it'll automatically prompt you as one of the suggested something to watch. Now, most people have to obtain a mortgage when purchasing a home. There are a few of us who can actually purchase a home with cash. Okay, and for those of you who can purchase a home with cash, then a lot of this information you don't need to know. Okay, because you won't have to worry about points, you won't have to worry about, you will have to still pay closing costs, but a lot of things that you won't have to deal with, because a lot of things that are in here talks about one having to obtain a mortgage. So the first thing that usually a person has to do is obtain a mortgage when purchasing a home. Okay, now what are some of the qualifications? How do you actually get qualified? Where do you go to get started on the mortgage process? Well, first, I'm so glad you asked. Okay, my name is Sylvia Black, licensed real estate broker with affordable homes. And usually you would go to a broker, and I hope that you would choose me, our company, my company, as your full-service licensed real estate brokerage firm to show you the properties that we have available. Not only are we going to sell you a house, but we're going to let you know about all the other advantages and the benefits involved on how you can spend as little money as possible out of pocket so that you can purchase a home. You can save on your mortgage payments, and a whole lot of creative ways that you can purchase a home, okay, with a mortgage or paying cash. Okay, now a lot of times, first of all, you come to me and you say, Ms. Black, I'm interested in purchasing a home. I'll sign you up with my workshop. In my workshop, I'll talk to you about, first we'll start talking about your job history. Usually, people, when you go to a bank, okay, and I will give you recommendations on what to ask the banks This is what I always do with my customers. I tell you, that's why I like to educate you first. I let you know what you need to ask the banker when you go to the bank. Okay, and these questions are important because it would help you be able to determine the type of mortgage that you would be entitled to. That would help you save on the money that you're going to spend. You want to spend as little money as possible, but you want the best house that's available to you with the money that you have available. So that's what I do. I give you I educate you on how you need to approach the mortgage company or the bank or the financial institution, whatever you want to call them. And these are the questions that you need to ask, because a lot of times you'll walk into the bank and they'll ask these questions, and if the loan officer, that's what they call loan officers, if they don't know what you're talking about, then you need to either speak to somebody else or go somewhere else. Another precaution that I will give you: when you walk into a bank, they say the first thing that they'll ask you for is your social security number before you even have a chance to ask any questions. And I always suggest that you ask questions first. They always say I should have been a private investigator. Well, I'm a licensed real estate broker. And as a real estate broker, I get to ask just as many questions as a private investigator would, or more. Okay? And now when you go to the bank, some of these questions are very, very important. And I list some of them in this book, which is available on lulu.com, in terms of how you need to approach the bank, what you need to ask, what you need to say, and what you need to know, so that you'll know whether this is the bank that you want to deal with. Okay? And you'll be asking them some straightforward, point-blank questions. Okay? And I'll go over those questions with you when you come to my workshop. Okay? Now, before you even go to the mortgage company, however, a lot of things you have to evaluate, and you can do this at home, and I have several items and books and pamphlets that you can use at home to help sort of pre-qualify you, so you'll be able to do your own home analysis. Okay? First you got to look at how long have you been working on your job. Usually the banks require 2 years of steady employment. Okay? That doesn't necessarily mean on the same job. It just means that there should not be a break in between your employment in the last 2 years. Okay? So you could have actually worked for one company for 1 year, quit that job, got a job offer with another company the very Monday following that Friday that you left that company there. And that would be okay, providing that it's steady employment and it's either at the same amount or greater. Okay? Now the next thing we would need to look at, of course, is your credit. How is your credit? And you can get a pretty general idea of how your credit is based on how effectively and efficiently you are able to pay your bills. If you are able to meet your expenses pretty smoothly, if you can pay your bills, if all your bills get paid on time and what have you, you can pretty much say, well, you know what, I think I'm ready to buy a house. If you're able to save money, put money aside, and say, hey, look, now I got some extra cash, I'm ready for the next step. Okay? But on the other hand, though, don't always think that that's always the case, because that's not always the case. I talk about a lot of creative programs that are available to you. As a homeowner under these programs, you would actually be able to have less money and to work with and own a home under these programs. You'll spend more money as a renter than you will as a homeowner. Okay, so if you are unable to meet your expenses right now as a tenant, it's a good thing that you should look into home ownership, because you may be able to meet your expenses a lot more smoothly and a lot easier being a homeowner. And a lot of times with income tax money, $10,000 can buy a house with cash. And you can be pretty much ready to move into it after you slap some paint into it. And very minor repairs. A lot of people don't have the patience for that, but that's the way to go. And that's one of the kind of houses that we'll be talking about, and I call those fixer-uppers. Okay? Now, like I said, job history, credit, and savings. You need to actually look into, do I have any savings available? Have I saved up any money? Am I able to save up any money over the next 6 months? That would help prepare me for home ownership. Okay. Now, again, I talked about steady, employment history. Okay, like I said, most people, when they buy a home, they're going to be looking to get a mortgage. Okay, there are some that are very fortunate enough to be able to just purchase a home with cash. And that's a blessing, okay? If you can discipline yourself enough to save up the cash that you need, so that you can buy a house, that would be a tremendous blessing in itself. Okay? Now, if you don't have a credit history, now credit history is established when you actually start buying things on credit. Okay, that means that when you have a credit card or something, a loan, even a car loan. A lot of people are getting car loans with bad credit these days. But most of the time, if you have something on credit where you're paying off on it, on a regular basis, and something that actually reports to the bank. Now, some credit cards like Green Dot does not report to the bank. Okay, so you are not actually building up your credit with a Green Dot card. There are certain cards that do report to the bank, and a lot of these cards require that you have an additional checking account. And that what they'll do is you open up this credit card with your secured funds, with your own money, okay? But they will require you to have a checking account so that they will automatically take the money out of your checking account and deposit it into your credit card. I don't like that. I don't like anything that's automatically taking money out of anywhere. You know what I mean? If you're entrusting me with this is my own money now that I'm using. Why can't I have the ability, and I would choose to go with a credit card that reports to the bank that would allow me to pay my money on my own? This is my own money that I'm using. Why would you have to be able to have the ability to take my money to pay my money? Okay, now that's one way of doing it. Now, a lot of times you go to the bank and you say, "Oh, Mr. Banker, Miss Banker, I'd like to apply for a credit card." And they'll look at your credit and they'll say yes or no. Okay, if they say yes, then they'll give you a credit card with a certain amount of the bank's money. And then you will then spend a certain amount of that money, and then you will also be required to pay that back at a certain interest rate. Now, there's one precaution that I need to let you know. There are different types of actually credit cards. One credit card, you have to make sure, and you can check your statement a lot of times. Sometimes it's safer to spend money on, have your money on your credit card because you're not flashing a whole lot of cash. Okay, and then other times, it's you got to know how much you're spending, because what will happen is there's some accounts that have, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's when you spend all the money that you have on the card, and overdraft protection. That's what it's called, overdraft protection. And what happens is you spend all your money that you have, or the money that they allow you, that you borrowed from the bank, to use on this credit card, which could be $500, $3,000, $10,000, whatever they loan you, okay? And it's based on your credit, will depend on how much money they will loan you on this particular credit card. And also, credit history is important. So if you have no credit in the past, it's going to hinder you your ability to be able to get a credit card. But now let me talk about overdraft protection for a moment. Overdraft protection, what happens is you allow, let's say $500. You spend $500, right? Now you go to the video store and you've spent all your $500, right? And you swipe that card and you're able to get a video, $5 for this video, right? Now you're using the bank's money. Okay, I mean, you were using the bank's money anyway, but this was money that they allowed you to use. They loaned it to you, so technically it was your money, okay? But you have to pay back to the bank. Now the bank says overdraft protection, you're going to pay for that. Now, if in the past, if you were to bounce a check, or if you was to spend money that you didn't have, what they would do is they would charge your account an overdraft fee, okay, and the check would bounce. So the bill would not get paid, and you would still have to pay an overdraft fee, okay. Now what they do is they allow you to be able to buy this particular item or pay this bill, but you're going to pay it at the same price that you would pay if the check bounced. So now you have to ask yourself, what is the advantage of that? Is there an advantage? Yes, there is an advantage. No, there's no advantage. You determine that, whether, that's something that you want to involve yourself with. But you have to pay close attention to your particular, your statement. Okay? If you don't pay attention to your statement, then you're not going to know how much money you're spending. And nowadays, they can actually text it to you, to your phone, to a particular phone number. So every day you can have your balance text to you. Or you can just monitor it. There's a lot of ways you can do it online. Now, that's overdraft protection. Just be careful about that, because that can make anytime you do one little thing, you're building up your credit, and then one little thing that you do wrong, and you don't pay one bill, and your credit score can drop like a hot potato, and it would take you a longer period of time to rebuild it. Now, what happens if you don't have any credit at all? Okay, there's what we call alternative credit. Okay, now alternative credit is credit that you can use alternative methods of credit. Okay, for example, your cable bill can be an alternative credit. What you're going to need is 4 items, okay, to use as alternative credit. And I'm talking about my book, Free Money for Home Buyers, which is available on Lulu.com. Okay, now alternative credit is, let's say you can use your cable bill. You can rent sometimes, not always. A lot of times now the cable company is reporting to the credit bureau. A lot of times when you get a phone, make sure whether you're signing a contract or not, because a lot of times they will not tell you this. Okay, and if you don't fulfill the obligations of the contract, you'll be hit with a cancellation fee. Okay, and they will charge you for a month of service that you didn't even use. Okay, that can also be used when you buy a phone on credit. You know, one of the phones that report to the credit bureau, that can also be used as alternative credit. 4 items can be used, and again, if you get a secured credit card, which is what I talked about earlier, about a credit card that reports to the bank, but that's using your own money, that's what you call a secured credit card. Now, an unsecured credit card is a credit card that when you go to the bank and you ask them to get a credit card and they loan you their money. That's an unsecured credit. An unsecured credit card is when you're not using any of your own collateral to secure that credit card with. A secured loan is when you're like a mortgage loan. It's a secured mortgage loan. It's when you're using some kind of collateral. And in a mortgage, it's a house. The house is being used as a collateral. So you're buying this particular mortgage. You're getting this mortgage. You're buying a house. But the house is being used as collateral. So if you don't pay the mortgage, the house will be taken. So the bank is going to get their money one way or the other. And that's what happens with foreclosure. And I'll talk about that in another segment. Okay, now, I'm talking about my book, Free Money for Home Buyers, which is available on Lulu.com. Okay, that's LULU.com. And just type my name, Sylvia Black, or the actual title of the book, Free Money for Home Buyers. Okay, and we're talking about the buying process, probably the first half of it. Okay, so this is what you call alternative credit. And there's a whole lot of issues, and I probably have like a week's worth of workshop just on credit alone, because we talk about debt management, budget and credit issues, which is 3 different segments of financial management, which we talk about. And that is a very elaborate subject because it can be confusing at times. But it's something you got to try to remember, because your credit is very important when it comes to buying a home. Now, like I said, you'll know that when you're in a position to buy a home, or when you're moving towards securing your future, when you're able to pay your bills more securely. Now, a lot of times, if you can't get an increase in salary, then the best thing to do is to reduce some of your expenses, or to get a second income coming in from somewhere. Okay. And again, Free Money for Home Buyers, and my name is Sylvia Black, licensed real estate broker with Affordable Homes. Now, have you saved any money for your dream home as a down payment and closing costs? And remember, I told you that there is assistance available. There are grant monies available from city, state, local government, federal government, and local and county municipalities to help you buy a home. Okay, thereby reducing the down payment. Now, the standard down payment across the board, usually for conventional mortgages, and I'll go into mortgages at another show, is usually 20%. Okay. Now, the government has initiated programs, and have initiated programs for quite a while, whereas that you and I, as a first-time home buyer, can actually purchase a home with as little as 3% down. Okay, 3% down, we can purchase a home. I tell you, as soon as I start talking, everything in the world just starts itching and scratching, and I said, the devil is a lie. Okay, okay, okay. Now, have you saved up your money for a down payment and closing costs? Okay. Now, important part of the the process is, of course, getting approved for a mortgage. Okay, now that is very important, and like I said, different banks have different qualifying criteria. So if you go to one bank and you say, "Oh, Mr. Banker, I'd like to ask you some questions," because I always educate my buyer, and sometimes I go with you, because I do not like it when people try to take advantage of you. See, mortgage companies, a lot of them, not all of them, some of them, But see, they're in the business of making money. And a lot of times the loan officers are driven by commission. Just like, I'm a real estate broker, I'm driven by commission. If, if I don't sell a house or rent an apartment, I'm not going to make a commission, okay? Uh, I'm driven by commission, but me, I guess I'm just different. I'm not in the business of trying to take advantage of anybody, I do it the right way, because then you have repeat customers and you'll be in business longer. You don't have to worry about looking over your shoulder, worry about whether somebody's going to come and, come behind you, and whatnot, and want to attack you because you said something wrong, or that, you did something wrong. I always try to do it the right way. So when you're, applying for a mortgage, the 20% is usually the conventional mortgage, but then there's grant money available and different programs that's available to help reduce that down payment down to as little as 3%, and even sometimes that can be reduced with the help of some programs that are available that I talk about in detail in my book, Free Money for Home Buyers, which is available on lulu.com. Okay, and it's a compilation of information, state, federal government, and city ordinances, and I pretty much cover the entire state of New York, and anything outside of the state of New York, I include websites or phone numbers where you can contact in this book. Okay, and now, like I said, 3% down. So you buy a house, you get a house for $50,000. Okay, your down payment is going to be $1,500 or less. And I remember when the banks came out with what they call subprime. Subprime referred to people with bad credit, okay, or less than perfect credit. Well, they was allowing people with bad credit to get houses, like they get bad credit, for cars, And these particular houses, all you had to do was have $500 down, and it was just so good to be true. People thought it was illegal, I was, racking up. I was killing them. $500 down. I was a loan officer in New Jersey, and I was a licensed broker in New York City. So I was actually able to sell. Sometimes I did both. Sometimes I did one in here, one there. I would sell a house over here in Jersey. I was the mortgage guy. I'd sell a house over here in New York, and I got my commission for selling the house, and somebody else did the mortgage. So, $500 down. See, in order to sell a house, you got to know, and this is a key for brokers, for anybody who's in sales, the key to selling a house is being able to promote the money. Okay, see, I worked in money also. I worked for banks, so banks are into money. Real estate brokers like myself are into houses. Okay, banks do not have the time and the energy, nor do they desire to manage property in terms of when they foreclose on a piece of property. They want to sell it, get the cash, and keep it moving. On the other hand, real estate brokers like myself, we're into real estate. So we can have a ton of real estate holding on to house after house. That's what we do. We sell, we buy, we rent, we manage, we lease, okay? This is what we do. And this, we're into real estate. So when you go to a bank, the banker, they're motivated by money. But a lot of them are so driven by money, sort of like some of them can get greedy. And then you can end up with predatory lenders, and I'll probably end up talking about that next week, predatory lending. You have to be aware. That's why I educate you in terms of telling you what you need to ask when you go in there. Because you're going to be able to pick their brain. You're going to be able to tell whether they know what they're doing or not. I don't want to deal with no amateur when it comes to making such a big decision as buying a house. If this is going to be my only investment, one of the biggest financial investments that I'm going to make in my life, I'm going to spend all my life savings that I've saved up for the last umpteen years, and I'm going to buy it now, and I'm going to do it in the hands of an amateur? Oh, no. I have to be able to do it with somebody that I know. And it's irrespective of what color you are, what race you are, what gender you are. I want to go with somebody who knows what they're doing. Of course, me as an African American, I'm going to try to do business with other African Americans. But if I can't do a business with African Americans, a lot of time I have a problem with that because they don't get up. I'm up early in the morning trying to find somebody to do business with, and I'm trying to find an African American business, or just keep it real, a black business to do business with, and nobody is up, nobody's answering the phone. So I got to go to somebody who's available. And who is that? It's a Caucasian, or whatever, or it could be an Arab, or what have you. So free money for home buyers, you know what I mean? So a lot of times we complain about, we as black people, we complain because, we blame a lot of stuff on the white man, but no, it's our fault because you don't get up. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the problems that we face as African Americans. We become lazy. You know what I mean? We become content and satisfied with where we are and comfortable in your uncomfortable situation. and allowing society to dictate your life and how your life should go, instead of trying to change that. Trying to think big. You know what I mean? As I mentioned once before in one of my previous segments, African Americans, non-African Americans are out there, having jobs, Bloomberg, mayor. I mean, you got a lot of Caucasians and Arabs got stores on every corner, all the hair stores in the world. You know what I mean? And unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? And then you got all the Chinese restaurants. Chinese people, they come to our city and they own these restaurants, and we going in there and spending our money in their stores. Okay, but what are we doing as African Americans? We're doing general labor work, working like slaves, for minimum wage. Come on now, we have to get out of that. Society done dictated our lives long enough. It's time for us to step out of that, out of our uncomfortable situation, and start, getting something. You got stuck a thorn in our flesh. So now we have to allow ourselves to be. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for your children. Do it for your grandchildren. Have something to leave them, a legacy to leave your children. Because this is the time, home ownership, honey. And I'm going to be talking about building wealth in home ownership. Okay, how you can actually build wealth in owning a home. One home. You can build wealth. You can take a vacation. You could go on your trip. You could remodel. You could expand. You could buy the clothes you want. You can send your children to college just from purchasing one home. You'll never be broke when you buy a home if you know what you're doing. But you got to be a smart person. An educated consumer is my best customer. Okay, and my name is Sylvia Black, and a licensed real estate broker with affordable homes and apartments. And I was talking about my book, Free Money for Home Buyers, which is available on lulu.com. And that's lu.com, just www.lulu.com. And you can order it right online, or you can email me, and I can email you a copy. I can send you an ebook right over the internet. It will be a PDF file. Okay, so now is the time really for us to start owning a home. And I would like for you to really seriously consider, starting the process. There's workshops that you would have to go through. It's a process. It's a learned process. I have to teach you what you need to know. I studied this for years, so that's why I'm so familiar with it. And a lot of times you walk into a bank and what they say, they talk language that you will not understand. It sounds like they're talking gobbledygook. They'll use phrases and words that you have no idea what they're talking about. And if you can't deal with somebody who has the patience to explain it to you, then you need to go to somebody else. I make sure I'm going to somebody professional because I want the deal to take place. I want you to be in your home. Well, otherwise I'm wasting my time. I don't make a commission, you don't get no home, nobody gets paid, nothing happens here. We've all wasted a day's work, okay? So I want you to please consider getting a copy of this book, Free Money for Home Buyers. And there are a lot of free places where you can get workshops for free. There's a lot of free counseling agencies out there, a lot of free assistance available. There's a lot of free money out here in the city of Buffalo, period. Okay, and somebody just told me that there was some billions of dollars that's just been dispersed to non-profit organizations to help in this aspect. So it's time for us to start taking advantage of some of this money that's given to the city for our purpose and our benefits. And I want to thank you for joining me today for Real Estate, Religion, and You. And my name is Sylvia Black, licensed real estate broker with affordable homes and apartments. And our website is under construction. You can email me at sblack3001@gmail.com. You can visit my YouTube address at sblack3001. And I've been talking about the buying process. And you can get a copy of this book on lulu.com. So I want to see you next week. Holla at a sister, y'all. Peace out.